people say the left and the right can't agree on anything these days. Well, there is this one thing they agree on. Right-winger Tucker Carlson has Nick Fuentes and Holocaust deniers on his podcast and wonders along with them who really was the bad guy in World War II. And the New York Times has on their podcast super leftist Hassan Piker, who they call a progressive mind, and who says Zionists should be treated the same as Nazis, which I assume means hung at Nuremberg. That's what progressive is now? I see why the meathead manosphere and the Code Pink people are on the same page, because they both went to high school in America and they don't know anything. So we really could someday soon have the Tiki Torch Jews will not replace us crowd and the Queers for Palestine people working together to elect the next Hitler.
You got to give it to him, Eric. I mean, he's really nailed it in that. I think that was a shortened version of this whole thing, but wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
It's true. It's true. Just when you thought anything couldn't get any weirder, it's true.
Yeah, and he summed it up very succinctly. But you know, like I keep saying about him, every other week. One week he's right on point. The next week he says something that's just obnoxious and annoying. So, you know,
well, he's getting more consistent about these issues that rational people fret about. I mean, there is a certain consistency about the big issues that he's on.
This is true.
Yeah. The little stuff he's still insane about, but he seems to be getting in fights with every guest he brings on, Eric.
Well, it's an easy place to be because, I mean, one, he's Jewish and he's right. Yeah, everybody gets along on that. Something that they can agree about. So that I think is a salient point. And that's something I've said many, many times, like, you know, to Nate and other people. It's like, yep, if there's one thing that there's harmony about, go to the left, go to the right. Don't care for them Jews. Don't care for them Jews.
Well, it's a recent development. It's not, that old of a thing. The one on the right is super recent. They have just decided to tear MAGA apart. I will never forgive them for this, politically or emotionally or psychologically. Forget about the Jew angle. Just about tearing MAGA apart over some minuscule situation that they're not happy with. Okay, I understand you're not happy with something. But the alternative that we just went through of 4 years and the 8 years prior to that is so draconian and so crazed that these people are willing to gamble our lives and MAGA upon that on this one issue. It is unforgivable. It is insane. It is retarded. And they should never, ever be allowed back into this party.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't even know what to say. These insane people like Massie and Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker, what is their fucking problem with this president? I mean, it's absolutely deranged, Eric. They're willing to tear the entire fucking thing down over whatever their particular issue is on that day.
I 100% agree. And you know what? That's a great place to start. I thought, you know, I was thinking about it because obviously one of the hottest contested primaries going on is happening today. But before we do, we have to do a little bit of victory lap. So let's visit the late congressman, as in late political career, Bill Cassidy out of Louisiana, struggled and could not even make the top 2 of his runoff and is out. He is completely gone out of the election. He will no longer be in the Senate. It is the worst showing, according to Harry Enton, in 80 years of a primary ever seen. He didn't even hit 25%. He couldn't get 25% of the people to vote for him.
You and I have been talking about this and waiting for Trump to do this for years. You and I on this show have said, when is the political hammer coming down on these rats? And the political hammer has come down on Cassidy and hopefully these other rats. This is a side of Trump I've been waiting to see for years. And everybody against him said, why waste the primary? Why? Trump is just thin-skinned. Trump should just get along with these people who hate his guts, who voted for his impeachment, who are willing to undermine all of his positions. Well, you know what? Fuck them. He just drove a stake into the heart of them, and he's not done. He's not done.
It started with Indiana.
Yep.
It's continuing here.
Yep.
And I do want to point out, because I think this is very true, that Maha really came into this. So
Wow.
as happy as Trump is about it, Bobby Kennedy had to take a drink or celebrate, whatever, have a fizzy drink, because honestly, Cassidy has been a thorn in his ass. He barely got confirmed and was held hostage by the son of a bitch. So now he only has to deal with them for a few more months.
Yeah.
Now, I guarantee that Cassidy would probably go right down the McConnell route and sabotage them at every turn.
Thune is acting out now, and you've got, Thune is exactly the same as him. He's got to go next. I don't give a shit what it costs. To be honest with you, I don't care if the RNC spends all their money to get rid of these guys in primaries. It's got to be done. You can't have your agenda moving forward when you're being undermined by people in your own party, when the alternative is a complete Nazi regime if they ever get back into power, the Democrats. They keep saying they're going to hang people, indict people, jail people, but let's fight over some interstitial party policies. Let's rip the party apart over our hatred of the Jews. Let's destroy the entire fabric of the Republican MAGA movement over issues involving Save America Act, showing voter ID. Give me a break. I mean, he's got to drive them out, Eric. You're right.
100%. And let's go to our I think the final nail, whatever we want. It's not guaranteed yet, but there are good signs. The momentum is there, and we're going to look at this guy.
Wow.
And that, of course, is Thomas Massie. Voting is underway as we speak.
Good.
We're going to find out tonight, most likely. I don't know how long they take to count, but I assume it's a red state, so they know how to count on the same day.
Red state,
so we should know probably pretty soon after polls close. And while we're closing out and we're talking about it, let me see. But what do you think Massie had to say about the election? What subject do you think is going to come up?
No, come on, don't tell me.
Okay, well, let's find out. I mean, I'm sure you'll be surprised, Mark. It'll be shocking to you as we go ahead. But let's listen.
But do you think the people of your district can understand the distinction you're trying to make? After 7 terms serving that district, will they decide to keep you in Washington now, sir?
I think they will. Like I said, we've got the endorsement of the pro-life groups, the pro-gun groups, the local elected officials, the congressmen in Kentucky who've come down and campaigned with me. And my people are smart enough to understand that this is Israel trying to buy an election. Marianne Middleton has spent so much money on my election.
Didn't make it 30 seconds, dude.
Wow. That she was paying for.
What a piece of shit.
In Israel. The Republican Jewish Coalition and the American Israel
Fuck you hillbilly piece of shit.
In this race. And on a guy that's never showed up for a single debate. They think they can buy Kentuckians. They think they can buy this seat because they tried to buy my vote and I wouldn't sell it. And they're finding out it's real expensive. And what they're going to find out is they can't afford to buy this seat in Kentucky. This is the most expensive race.
Let me tell you something. In these particular contexts, anti-Semitism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. That is really scoundrelous when you have to go that low. I mean, imagine if he was blaming American blacks for his problems. I mean, it's outrageous. It is outrageous.
And he made sure to hit it 3 beats. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe there was a 4th one I missed, but I was sitting there. I'm like, oh, that didn't take long.
Wow.
That did not take long at all. Even, and J.D. Vance, he's been kind of dragged out to talk about this campaign as things. And so he answered questions about, Massie.
Good for him.
Endorsed a candidate to run against Republican Representative Thomas Massie, who has opposed and criticized some of the Trump administration's aims. How would you address those who fear that principled disagreement or independent thinking is discouraged within the party because of how it can be framed as a betrayal instead of as internal accountability or an opportunity for debate and negotiation?
So it's a very good question. And let me say, this one is hard for me. And the reason it's hard for me is because Thomas Massie and I, he's one of the first people that ever reached out to me about my book or about political office. I've known Thomas Massie well before I ever got involved in politics. Thomas's wife died well, maybe it was a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It was a little while ago. She died very unexpectedly, was a very sweet and kind woman. And I was probably one of the first people that called Thomas to offer my condolences. I think the problem with Thomas, and I've told him this in private, and now I guess I'll say it in public, is it's one thing to disagree with the party on a particular issue. It's one thing to have your independent stand on a number of questions. And by the way, some of the stuff where Thomas Massie has been independent against the Republican Party, I've agreed with him with. Thomas and I worked together during 2023, where I was trying to stop the limitless flow of American money to Ukraine. And Thomas was one of the people I was working closest with it. But that's one thing. Being independent, having your own opinions is one thing. Voting against the party on every single issue, you're eventually going to make too many enemies. And that is the problem that Thomas has had. It's not one issue. It's not 3 or 4 issues. It's that every time that we've needed Thomas for a vote, he has been completely unwilling to provide it. That is why the President of the United States has trained his ire on Thomas Massie. It's because we can never count on him for some of the most difficult votes. I wish that weren't the case. I say that as somebody who's known Thomas well before I got into politics, but politics is politics. And when you always vote against the party, you can't expect the party to actually back you.
That was a great answer, Eric. It really was. I mean, it was without rhetoric. It was without anger, without malice. Just a wonderful intellectual answer to a pragmatic political problem, which is what I've been saying. It's a pragmatic aspect of this administration that I have not heard from until that.
And I'm glad to see JD doing it. I feel like, finally, buddy, come on.
Finally. You don't have to get into ideology. You don't have to get into the weeds of every single vote he took. He just summed it up beautifully. The guy has fucked us every single time. You can't expect us to put out the fire in your house when you've denounced the fire department and cut off funding to them.
Yeah, I agree. And the markets have turned. I mean, honestly, I thought it was a long shot because Massie, he's 7 times in there, long tenure. This is the poly market odds. Wow. You can see 61.39 at Gallerin. This is people who are putting up their own money saying, we think this guy is going to win. And how about Kalshi? I don't want to, do that. Oh, look at that. 62-39. So
Gallerin is a real candidate. Everybody's focused on Massie. When you dude, this guy's an ex-Navy SEAL, completely decorated war hero, completely righteous business owner, farm owner. Forget about Massie and his ideological bullshit. The guy he's running against is the real deal, which is what I've been saying. I don't know where he came from, but he's got Trump's endorsement and he's got the resume for this. Get this other piece of shit out of there already. It's enough with Kentucky. I'm tired of Rand Paul. I'm tired of this guy. I'm tired of McConnell. What the hell is going on down there, for Christ's sakes? Get this state, Trump won by 1 million points in line with the people who live there. I mean, these are people who support Trump to the death in Kentucky. You talk about being owned by outside interests. Ask Mitch McConnell where his money comes from. Ask his Chinese wife where his money comes from, for Christ's sakes.
Also in Kentucky.
Yeah.
I agree with you completely. And did you see the latest thing that was going on that Massie's campaign did today?
I did not, but I just want to add this. If he does win, he will be a completely isolated Republican independent guy just sitting there by himself. He will have no power. He will have no benefits. He will have no support. He will vote any way he wants to vote. And we will just have lost just one particular vote. And we're going to have to win the House by more than one vote to overcome Massie, which I think we're going to do. But even if he wins, he's just going to be an isolated political figure.
Which I think he'll love.
That's okay. I don't give a shit.
I'm just saying he'll probably be like, oh, look at I am the guy. You know,
but nobody's going to care about him anymore.
Yeah, that fits with them. But no, the latest bit of chicanery came out of his campaign, apparently. I'm not even going to say he did it directly. His campaign was texting his 2022 endorsement from Trump.
Oh, that's so low. Jesus Christ.
I mean, and Trump has gone ballistic on this because, I mean, he obviously can't stand the guy, wants him out more than anything. And then he does that, though?
Yeah, I mean, you know that Trump wants to get along. For him to turn on you, you have to continuously become an unmanageable, undeal-making figure to Trump, for Trump to give up on you. In other words, Trump believes he can make a deal with anybody. He can't make a deal with Thomas Massie any longer. And that takes a lot of stuff to make Trump become that part of Trump.
Yeah. Now, to close out this topic, because one of the people who's out there, screaming that there was an AI ad being run against Massie the Precious was Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I never thought I would ever quote AOC, but AOC did a decent job explaining exactly what is up with Marjorie Taylor Greene, because everybody's like, hey, this is a MAGA girl, blah, 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 blah. Even AOC can express what's going on.
MTG, people are like, oh my God, she's saying all of these things. Like, what's gotten into her lately? Oh, like she's bucking against Trump. She's bucking against the administration. Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate in Georgia.
Wow.
She wanted to run for Senate earlier this year in the state of Georgia. She wanted to be the Republican nominee for Senate. So she was gearing up for that statewide race, and Trump told her no. Trump said no. And the White House and Trump land shut down Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal ambitions to run for Senate. And she has been on a revenge tour ever since.
That makes sense.
That's exactly true.
That's probably right. I mean, he destroyed her political career. But this is the Trump I've been waiting for and talking about, frustrating for a number of years on this show, waiting for this guy to appear with the hammer, the Nixonian hammer, the Reagan hammer. I mean, guys who knew how to do this. We mentioned LBJ, of course, when this happened, because he was the best at it. But Trump, I am so happy to see this side of him appear as a political animal finally.